Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of my credit card series. I know that a lot of you out there can find money management quite intimidating, so I'm going to try really hard to break this down as simply as possible and gear it a little bit more towards people in our generation. In the last episode, we talked about why credit is important, and if you haven't seen that episode yet, I recommend going and checking that one out before you come to this video. But after watching that first video, you will know that a credit score is very important for people our age. This video, which I'm calling Credit 101, is kind of going to go over the 5 parts that make up your credit score. But first, I wanted to play this game with you guys. And my little cousins came over yesterday, and they were playing this game. And I played around with them, and I was like, this is the most anxiety-inducing thing I've ever seen in my life. Basically, you have to, push down the teeth of the alligator, and if it bites you, you lose. And if there's 2 teeth left, and you're the one who pushes down, the third to last tooth, and you leave 2 left, you win. So I'm going to play around, and I'm really scared. Do you hear that? Listen. Wait. It's like squeaky. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, we did 3 on this side, though. Okay, we're gonna move over here. I'm trying to, go farther to the back because I feel like it's going to hurt less if I, get bit back here versus up here. You know what I mean? Okay. Let's do this one. Okay. Which one should I do next? Maybe should I go back to this side? I'm gonna go back to this side. It's all right, let's get into the video. Where's that button at? All right, there it is. Alright, first and foremost, what is a credit score? It is a set of 3 numbers ranging from 300 to 850, with 850 being the highest score you can possibly get. The biggest factor making up 35% of the score is your on-time payment history. Are you paying your credit card bill on time? This one should be a super easy box to check off if you set up auto pay like I have on all 5 of my credit cards. So you could do the easiest part, the biggest 35%, with an easy auto pay selection. No hassle, you don't ever have to worry about it again. Alright, part 2, the next biggest chunk making up 30% of your score is credit utilization. What does this mean? If someone gives you $1,000 of a line of credit, meaning you're allowed to spend up to $1,000, you don't want to spend more than 30% of that. So if someone gives you $1,000, you don't want to spend more than $300. For a perfect score, you don't want to spend more than 10%. Which can be hard for some of you to do, but as a general rule of thumb, you don't want to be spending more than 30% on your credit cards. I'll put a picture up here to show you guys the grading scale and to show you kind of what credit utilization will land you in what category of excellent, good, poor, fair, etc. If you have any questions about this, just ask in the comments below. It's a very easy concept though. This next section is my least favorite section. Even though it only takes up 15% of your credit score, it is the hardest to build. And that is the length of credit history. And the credit bureaus just changed this rule for the worse, and I'll explain what I mean in a second. Basically, in simple terms, the longer that you've had credit, the better you're going to do in this section, this 15% section. There are 2 parts that make up this 15%. The first one is the age of your oldest account. Meaning, the longer ago you started, the better your credit score is going to be. So if you're in your 30s, early 30s, late 20s, the best time to start building credit was yesterday. You guys are behind. And if you're in your early 20s like me, you need to start building your credit ASAP. Building credit over a length of time is so important because the second section averages your oldest account from your youngest account. And whatever that average number is the number that the credit bureaus are going to take into account as well. Unfortunately, according to the rubric, you needed an average credit history of about 7 years. 7 years. And now the credit bureaus bumped that 7 to 9 years, which is crazy to me. Alright, you guys, there's 2 more sections. Stay with me here. We're almost done. The next rather small part, which is only 10% of your score, is your credit mix. Meaning, what types of credit are you borrowing? Do you have a revolving credit loan, like a credit card? Do you have an installment loan, like a car payment? Do you have a mortgage? Typically, the more that you have of each of these different types will boost your score. That is not to say, however, you should go get different types of loans to borrow more money because that will actually hurt your score. But to increase your score, to get a perfect score, credit bureaus want to see you having different types of loans. Okay, this next section is a little bit confusing, but I'll try to keep it very simple. Basically, borrowing new credit will affect 10% of your score. There's a term for this identified as a hard inquiry. Basically, a credit inquiry is anytime that you want to go borrow money, it shows up on your credit report. And you don't want to be seen as someone who's trying to borrow money too frequently, but you also don't want to be seen as someone who doesn't borrow any money at all. Does that make sense? Don't worry, this is only 10% of your score, and I don't think that too many of you guys should have to worry about this. As a general rule of thumb, if you're just starting out, maybe getting one new line of credit every 6 months is okay, but I usually keep my baseline at like one new line of credit a year. And I haven't gotten a new line of credit in a while, so my hard inquiries are at 0, but that's totally okay. But don't worry, this isn't going to be the section that tanks your score. The section that tanks your score is high credit utilization and not paying your credit card bills on time. You just do those two things and your credit score will go way up. Okay, quick recap, rules of thumb. First of all, pay on time every single time. Second rule, don't spend more than 30% of what you are given. Third, time is key for a perfect credit score. The earlier you start, the better you're going to be. Fourth, different types of loans will help you get a better credit score, but don't go out and get loans for the sake of getting loans. And lastly, don't borrow money too frequently. As a typical rule of thumb, just get one new line of credit per year at the max. Alright, that's all I have for this video. Thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end if you did, and if you were able to stick to the end, you definitely have the discipline to make this credit journey quite easy for yourself. Don't forget to like this video in order to spread all this information to our peers, and the next video will be about where to start your credit journey. Alright, that's all I got. Thanks guys.